Alright, welcome back. We're going to do another training game. If you've been watching these videos, make sure you leave a comment so that I actually know if you're watching. Leave a comment in the comment box. If you would have seen the previous couple of videos, we had a good tactics session where we got to the 48th puzzle in the streak. Trying to get to 50, didn't quite get there, but you know what? Progress is progress, and we're going to make more progress today with a training game because chess is not just about solving abstract puzzles, it's about playing through the arc of a whole game. So without ado, let's get into it. Looking for a 15-minute game with 10 seconds extra per move, and we have it against Movlud 1956, who's rated 1710. Opens with the move d4, and we respond here with knight f6, and then I'm going to play d5 myself. Very symmetrical sort of queen's pawn opening. And I'm going to be very much trying to not get into any kind of big time pressure. c5 is just very often a good move in these kinds of positions. Now, I could consider getting my light squared bishop out. He's more than likely going to fianchetto his bishop, but his knight has some, issues there. It's a little bit annoying. I think I'll do this. At the very least, I can trade, so it can't be the worst move in the world. It's not going to be a losing move in the game. And what I like is I can then follow up with this e6 move, and my light squared bishop is no longer here. I do also have to be aware that that could weaken the b pawn here. But in the meantime, let's just continue our development. This is a very natural square for the knight. And at a certain point in time, I may wish to play a move like this, which I might want to do right now, because if he had taken with this pawn, it would give this bishop a nice square to go to, and then both of his knights would be pinned to pretty important pieces. So instead, he's taken this way, and at the moment, I think things are looking pretty good for me. His bishop here is kind of hemmed in by its pawn and by the knight. The knight is guarding this knight here. It doesn't have to. It can move away by all means. But this knight is pinned, and that's annoying. And the only real way for him to push me away here is with something like this. And my argument at the moment, or when I played this move initially, was that if he has to play a move like this, things could get very dicey for him on the king side. And I wonder if I want to start attacking him on that king side and just prepare to castle long myself. So if I play h5 and he plays this move, I don't know if h5 really, prepares to allow him to take me. I take back, he sits his knight here, and I've lost a lot of material. So it's probably premature for that. I don't think there's any checks or worthwhile captures in the position. So what I'm going to do is just develop in natural ways. Now here he is trying to take advantage of this weakened b pawn. Weakened because the pawn is no longer here to defend it. But I could actually chase this queen away. He could give me a check though, which is a little bit annoying. I could also say I don't care about this pawn. If I just castle and say, you're really going to take this pawn, bringing your queen into no man's land at a point in time where you still haven't castled either. Are you sure that's something that you want to do? That would be a fair question for me to ask of this gentleman, let's say. But let's calculate, because after he takes, he is threatening this knight. What I can do there is move the knight away, hitting the queen. And the queen already doesn't have that many squares to go to. Really, only these are the safe squares in that position. At which point I can do what exactly? Maybe not all that much. I could also just put my queen here. My queen defends, and I can then castle on the next move. But let's see if I can come up with something. After this, if I just try and attack the queen directly, he takes the rook. I don't love that, for obvious reasons, although I can then come here. Is he going to be trapped? No, he's still not trapped. And the reason he's not trapped is, at the very least, he can take the rook, but he could also escape out this way. So maybe he can take this pawn, but even taking that pawn can I just say it's a sacrifice of a pawn? Move my rook over here. And once my rook is here, I come here and then here. That could be dangerous for him, you know. I'm spending a bit of time on this move because I want to work this out. If I castle and he takes and I come here with my rook, my threat, immediate threat, is to play this, hitting the queen. And that queen, as far as I can tell, it does have this square actually. Does still have this square. But then I play this and then he escapes out through the diagonal. And once he escapes out through the diagonal, my play there is mostly over. So I think I probably do need to defend this pawn. It's a simple way to play. I bring a little bit more sort of defense of this e5 square. And we just simply probably play on. Now, I'm no longer pinning this knight. That doesn't mean I have to take it straight away though, because his bishop is still a little bit annoyed about its current position. And I can attack this queen. If I want, I can still attack this queen right now. He'll just move back, of course. If he moves back here, I can attack him and move him back further and then put him back into the pin. And that might be annoying for him. So let's do that in the interests of not using all of our time on this position. He does actually have this check, silly me. But that check can be met with a move like this. He gives the check from that direction instead. Yeah, oversight there by me. Oversight. Not the end of the world by any stretch. I can, even if I want, begin castling manually in this position. And that might actually be okay. He can put a rook on this open line. But he can't really do anything to open up this open line as far as I can tell for the moment. And so that would give me a chance to play this. And on the next move, I'd be threatening this. And eventually we're going to have to kick this queen back. Put my own rook here, bring my king back this way. I think I prefer that to bringing this guy back and then castling, but I'm not sure. Maybe bringing this guy back is okay too, because then after castles, I'm also ready to play this move. There's kind of an argument for both here. There is an argument for both. I would say I'm going to play this move, but if I play this move, if he jumps in to attack me, I may have to give up. You know, I might have to do something like this, which wins a pawn. He's going to get a bit of an attack going, but I'm actually not too afraid. Although now I see that after this, take, I can't take because I would lose the knight. So what I'm going to do here is castle, freeing up my knight. That's important. And I guess, you know, yes, I made a mistake, so I have to accept that and now move on. It looks like my knight's, you know, not doing a lot, but I'm thinking of it. It might eventually come here and get back in the game this way, or I might even just bring it back here even. So let's see what he does. In any case, my position is nice. My pawn structure is solid, very solid pawn structure. My king is safe. My pieces are not too badly placed. If he does play something like this, which he doesn't have to do anymore, there's no annoying pins here for him. But if he did, he'd be very much weakening this pawn, and I could think about sacrificing my bishop straight away for 2 pawns and to open up his king. And that would be a very kind of interesting way to play, you know? So if something like this and he takes, I take back and he takes, well, he wouldn't take, but if something like this and he takes, I take, then I'm threatening, particularly if this move is played, to go take, take, take. Because if he takes back, take, check, he has to move the bishop back. But you know what? We don't need to calculate nonsense like that, because he's not going to play that way. What will he play though? You know, this knight still has to find a home. And actually my knight here is doing a decent job of taking away one of its only good looking squares. He might want to reroute the knight this way. And the reason I think he wants to move this knight is so that he can get his bishop into the game and just continue his development. I mean, he could think about moves like this, which are more forceful. B4, hitting my knight. But B4, I can attack his queen And then when the queen moves, I can put this knight over here. Not to mention that b4 really weakens this pawn of his. So that after something like this, he might want to defend that pawn. I put the other knight in, but I can also in the long term put another rook on the c-file and put pressure on this kind of pawn right here. Maybe even after b4, I could take this pawn immediately off the board because I would also be attacking the rook. So that if he took my knight, I would take the rook and I would have won an exchange in so doing. Still, he wouldn't be able to move the bishop. Oh, he could move it here actually, but in that case, I can always retreat. So I don't think he would want to play b4. And so that's the question, is what does he want to play? This pawn does a nice job of restricting this knight. Of course, this knight can jump down here, but at this point I can take it. And when he takes back, I could even maybe take it with this bishop. When he takes back, I could bring this knight back here. He could play something like this to really secure this pawn in place. That's the thing. He probably maybe wants to think about doing this. And it is a little bit annoying to me that this queen puts pressure on my knight. It is annoying. So I wonder if I would deliberately sacrifice this pawn just to try and kick the queen away, because he can't take this immediately. That's clear. And if he takes this, then can I attack him? Well, no, not if the knight's here, because he can then take that. So I think this is probably the move he would probably play. And the question is, really, how do I take... No, he goes for this move. So I was thinking about this in response. I think this is probably good. This knight was not really doing me a lot of favors. So I'm just going to zoom on in and take this. I'm hitting the rook. And like I said, I wasn't too happy with this knight. I've also, as I see it now, I'm giving up on this knight as well, which is potentially problematic, and then the bishop after it. So all these things are potentially problematic. Now that I think about them a little bit more closely. But we are where we are. I think I can maybe get away with playing this kind of a move, although it's dangerous. It has various nice effects. One is that it blocks his queen from attacking my knight, and I could also just drop my queen back, but then I give up on the knight, which I don't want to do. So this is a very dangerous scenario I've gotten myself into. What do I want to do about it is the question. Probably this is best. I probably have no other choice here. And if he attacks my queen can move here. It's very sort of dangerous looking. If he pushes this pawn, I can take this bishop off the board. All right, so he does attack my queen. Fair enough, good move. Fair enough, good move. What do I want to do? Well, like I said, I've got this square available to me. And I can take up residence on that square. Let's do it. I think it's only sensible. He could definitely sacrifice the exchange here. Really, he'd only be giving up a pawn. He'd be attacking both of these minor pieces. And that could present a problem to me as well. So I've got myself into a world of trouble. Firstly, by poor calculation, really. That was where this began. Now here I need to move my queen again. It's not safe anywhere here. So I really have to move it into one of these couple of squares. Which of those squares I don't know. This one probably puts the most pressure on him, so just logically you'd think this is the square to come to. And if he takes and takes and takes, well, so be it. We'll deal with that. We'll deal with that. Okay, so he attacks the queen again. Fair enough. Fair enough indeed. But my queen can drop again, and still it's holding on to safety. By not a great margin, but it's there. I could also play a move like this, which attacks the knight. I quite like that. Again, without much calculation here. Just on principle, keeping contact with his pieces. Also allowing my queen the ability to come back into defense. So now, if he were to sack the exchange and then come and attack both of these pieces, I could drop my queen back and defend both of those pieces. And we should be okay there. Somewhere along the line, I won an extra pawn, though. Don't forget, I did win a pawn here. I'm sure I misplayed this, and I'm sure he's misplayed this as well. So this is a very low-quality game. When you're playing what I think is a quick time control, 15 minutes is not very long. If you've seen my tactics training sessions, sometimes it takes me 15 minutes to find the correct move in a single position, let alone to play a whole game. We've already played 17 moves here. Now, he's moved his attacked knight out of harm's way, which I think makes a lot of sense. But I now need to come up with, what my next move is going to be. And I think this idea of attacking his queen makes not just some sense, but a lot of sense. There's only one safe square for his queen presently. And so, we could almost take that square away if we played a move like this. If we play a move like this, then we have the direct threat of winning the queen. So what does he do in response to this move? Well, he can move the knight somewhere like this, and the queen's always going to have an escape route. So I don't think it's necessary to put resources into trapping the queen when we can't trap the queen. But what we could do is a move like this regardless. And then after the queen moves to its really only safe square, then we can, proceed from there. In what way exactly would we proceed? Well, that's not clear. There might be this, but he can take. And I don't really want to allow that. This would be nice, except that he drops a pawn. So actually this move might have merit, because if he plays this, I can take here, but then he takes here. And I don't have a lot going on there for me. So there's no checks. Captures, well, there's this, but he takes. In fact, if this, he can take this. So this is an annoying knight. I might even want to move this knight back up this way, to be honest. Although my own queen then becomes a bit claustrophobic. My own queen becomes claustrophobic there, which I don't love. I could play a move like this, but why would I? I can do this, he comes here, but the question is, what then? What then do I do? I've got to get my queen back in the game. I have the distinct feeling that that's the case. Why don't I do that straight away? I could play a move like this. Getting my queen back in the game and putting 1, 2, 3 pieces against this pawn, which is currently only defended twice. He might stick his knight in here regardless, but then I can take the knight. When he captures back, he's got a relatively dangerous pawn. And that could be a slightly annoying thing to deal with. Could I play a move like this and attack the rook? Because if he takes, then I would have check. Nah, I don't think so. I could do this, because if he takes the pawn, I can take his knight. So, I mean, that is an option, I suppose. Could I take this? Well, I don't think so. He takes, I take, he takes. It's the problem. This, he comes here. It's just that I can't really further attack this fellow. I only got 6 minutes left on the clock now. If this is played and he comes here, I can still attack the queen. I can still attack the queen. The queen's going to have to move somewhere. And once it moves, well, then I can... I'm just not very happy with the position, hey. Just not very happy with the position. It's a bit uncoordinated. Perhaps very uncoordinated. And the problem with this is I can't then attack him because I would drop the queen. The knight. Drop the knight. So I just don't know what to do here. The position is a mess. It's not good. It's not a nice position in the least. Maybe I could play a move like a5. a5, putting more pressure on this pawn. If he takes, then I can take the bishop. I think he would have to recapture. a5 could be an idea, you know, particularly even after this. No, not so much after that, but a5. And if he takes, then I take the queen. Then I attack the queen. And when the queen moves, then I take here. You know, I think a5 could be a nice idea. If he takes with the knight, well, that knight is in a precarious position. I can take it. When he takes back, I take, he takes, and then I play something like this. Yeah, just not a good position. Not a good position. Very frustrating. What about a move like this? What does it do? Well, not a lot. Not a lot. Very frustrating. Someone's playing the fiddle a couple houses down, which is also frustrating. But yeah, this position just... I'm stuck. I am stuck here. Looking for ideas, basically. a5, what happens there? He takes with the knight. Then what? I take. He takes. I take. He takes. I come here. No. This move just... it's too passive, too awful. I'm going to retreat my queen, but then retreating my queen straight in line here doesn't seem like the best idea in the world. Because being in this pin, his knight can actually use this square a lot of times. The moment that he pushes me away from here. So I don't like that. I mean, there's this square for my queen potentially. There is potentially this square for my queen. Maybe then a5 could be on the table. Always got to watch out for my poor old bishop. There's this move again. And then once he moves, I still have to come up with, you know, what comes next. It's just not clear to me at all as to what does come next. It's really not clear to me. Yeah, there is this move, just threatening maybe he'll go wrong and miss that this is a threat to the queen. What else does he do in the meantime? Probably jumps the knight in. I'm going to do it just because I don't see anything really good anyway. At least here I am creating a threat. I have to do something. Doesn't mean I'm particularly pleased with it, but it's something. And let's see what comes next for him here. I would imagine a move like this is probably good, attacking my undefended knight and giving his queen an escape route. So that would be a possible move. And it's a very strong knight there, because if I ever take it, he gets a passed pawn, although so do I. In fact, his pawn would not be passed, but mine is. So there might well be, you know, something to be said of attacking the queen, making it move, and then winning this pawn. He can win this pawn with a tempo on my bishop. So that also needs to be considered. Maybe I should attack the queen with that pawn. If I attack the queen with that pawn, he can take this pawn. But then I attack his queen. He takes this pawn. Yeah, it's not nice. It's really not nice. really not nice at all. Probably going to have to take this knight off the board. Question really is, how do I want to do that? I'll use my knight, knight for knight. Okay. Now I have a passed pawn here. He's attacking my bishop though, so we could play a move like this. We could also attack the queen. It's an interesting idea. He could take on passant there though, which I wouldn't really like. If this, he's got this fork, I can take though. And when he takes back, I take the knight. So that would be interesting. Also, I would have check. So I'm going to play this. I'll play this, and at least I'm owning this diagonal. I do have an extra pawn. I don't like my position at all, but I have a passed pawn. The only passed pawn on the board. But my pieces are so disharmonious. So disharmonious, and that said, it's maybe settled down slightly here. What does he do? I mean, I've only got 30 seconds, which doesn't help me. It never does. But at least, you know, there's something happening here. I probably want to keep this pawn back where it is so that this pawn is not a passed pawn. By definition, if it advances, I can at least always take it off the board then. This rook might want to do more good. I might want to play a move like f5 and f4 and try and rip open his kingside where I have a lot of material. Maybe that is, you know, possibly the best I can dream of here. His knight doesn't have a lot of prospects at the moment, can only really come back this way. So he brings his queen back to a square where I can attack it. I can certainly attack this guy. And maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. But I will, in the absence of time to consider my options. It does, you know, improve my knight, so to speak. With a tempo on the queen. The queen has to find somewhere to go, and I can always at least come back here. If he takes, I take back, and I'm going to probably win material potentially there. I may also have options of moves like this. Potentially. Again, maybe this is an idea to play with. Where does he go with the queen? He definitely doesn't want to go to this square because it loses the queen. Check. Doesn't necessarily lose the queen. So there's plenty of options for him, essentially. Maybe I can come in with this check and just try and trade off these pieces. So he moves here. He moves there. Not necessarily a bad idea. I need to come up with something here. Why not this? Ooh, because we lose the bishop. Let's come here. Just holding on to my position. Just holding on to my position for the moment. Maybe I can come here next. Try and take this knight off the board. If he attacks my queen here, wouldn't be very friendly. But I do still have a couple of squares at my disposal. And his king would be becoming more and more open. So things are, interesting. They're unresolved as yet. I can always move this back, hit this bishop, and that would force a trade of bishops. In fact, this could be a nice move to play next. Because this move hits the bishop, I can either take it, or, we get a trade this way. Simplifying the position, where I'm a pawn up, probably isn't the worst idea in the world. But let's just see here what he does. Again, if he does attack my queen, out of these two squares, which one do I prefer? I think I prefer this one. Sorry, this one. Because A, I'm attacking the knight twice, and B, this bishop can still come back this way. if it wants to. So we can start like that. His king's getting pretty open here. And he might fall into the trap of trying to win on the clock. So I can't take this straight away. Well, I'm going to do this now. Attacking this bishop. And then I'm going to take here twice, winning a pawn. If given a chance. Could also consider this check. But I think taking here twice, opening up his king side, simplifying the position is a very nice looking idea. So he moves away, understandably. Now, how to proceed from here? I'll take the bishop, for better or worse. Perhaps then I'll take this knight as well. Yes, we'll take the knight. Then we can give a check here again. Which, let's just do. He moves into the line of my piece here. And now we need to proceed. How to do that? Not clear. Really not clear. I'm just going to play here. Keep the game alive. Keep connected with my pieces. Everything seems pretty solid, so we'll just wait for an opportunity if we can. And try and not do anything too stupid. If he does that, we can do this. So we can always keep these pieces connected and just claim that we're solid here. We'll wait for an opportunity. Now here looks like it might be an opportunity because we're attacking two things at the same time. So, I can't take that, however. What I could do is go for a queen trade. And if he tries to bring the rook down, I can take this other rook. Whereas if we trade queens, things are getting more simple. Things are getting simplified. And that should favor me. I could almost play this, except I dropped this pawn. So maybe I want to play something like this to prepare the pushing of this pawn in future. Let's do it. Can't be the worst move in the world. Now I'm actually prepared to push this pawn, put a rook behind it, and make it the center of my attention. Do I want to do it now, though? Possibly making my own bishop weak. No, I don't. I'm going to come here, keeping everything compact. Keeping everything compact. Now, this is interesting. This is an interesting idea that he's come up with. I don't think I need to respond to that in any particular way. I think I can just push this pawn forward. This rook is defending the pawn. If he takes here, I take back, and on the next move I push again, and I'm going to claim that what I have is connected passed pawns. That's going to be my central claim in this position. If he ever delivers the check here, I just move to the side. And again, I claim connected passed pawns, Your Honor. That is my claim. Yeah, you can give me a check. Like I say, I'll just move to the side. My king is safe. My position is solid. And slowly I will start steamrolling down the board with these pawns if I'm careful and if I have enough time to pass through the complications. Meanwhile, his pawn is always restricted, at least for the time being. So I can already push this pawn. Oh, no, I can't. I can't push the... What am I doing? Well, I just gave up my entire advantage in the position, unfortunately. Just complete blunder, complete and utter blunder. that's just gone from a winning position, probably back to a drawn position. I don't think there's any sense in this for him. Yeah, you can give a check. I don't know if I would even do this because he can take that. So I'll come here. And that's annoying. You know, maybe I can play something like this and make some sort of advance still. It's not a connected passed pawn, but it still is a passed pawn, which still speaks for something. Opposite colored bishops still have the heavy pieces on the board. So the game is absolutely still alive. The game is absolutely still alive. And my plan might be something like this. Although it will be hard to make progress, at least if I can get my pawn onto this file, the E file, then it will be promoting on a dark square, which is the same square color as the bishop I have. And because I have a dark squared bishop, it means I can potentially protect the promotion square, and that might make things easier for me in the future. So he's decided instead to move away. But now I can double up my rooks, possibly giving up this pawn in order to give a check. And if he moves, I can give another check. And if he moves, well, I can take, he takes, and I push forward. Don't really see huge points involved with that idea. Need to come up with something, don't I? I do need to come up with something. Perhaps a simple move. I'll just come back. I don't think I've got anything better. This may just be a drawn position where I don't want to ruin what I've got and turn it into a loss. I think here I can come here with relative ease, and then I can maybe come here and then return up here like this, so that I'll have still some protection down on this rank. And I'd like to get my king into the game. That's got to be important as well. The fiddle player continues on. Pretty awful game, I must say. Firstly, with the oversight of allowing the initial check and just being very discombobulated. But secondly, when I had these connected passed pawns, yeah, I can blame time pressure to some extent, but just literally throwing away a passed pawn, that's just such an elementary blunder. Such an elementary blunder. So now I'm going to come here. Now that I have both rooks on this 7th rank, I can return one of the rooks to one of the open files if I please. I think I can do it this way. It's not too much of a problem. And, you know, come about things in this manner. Now that I have a rook here as well, I can potentially play h5, which gives my king a square, takes a square away from him. Of course, he'll return to this square here. And then if I come here, I actually lose the pawn. So I may then have to come somewhere, you know, like this. h5 is kind of a loosening move in that regard. It gives me another baby to sit. Maybe just g6 and then king g7. Restricting his bishop, giving my king some space, possibly in the future then playing h5 when it's protected by a pawn rather than by the rook, so that the rook is still free to roam. I will offer a draw in this position, or will I? So he attacks my rook. I mean, understandably, I will actually come back here, which is tantamount to offering a draw because I believe we've already had this position. And if you have the same position 3 times, it's a draw through repetition. Now I am going to, I could come back here, but no, I'm going to play this idea that I mentioned earlier. Get my king into the game a little bit more. And we play on. He wants to play this. Take, take. That's probably a good idea. What if I come here though? Take, take, take. Yeah, I'll just come here. Because this is an undefended rook. Maybe I could do something like this, but essentially if he plays this, I'm planning to take. If he takes back, then okay. You know, okay. I play take, he takes. I can go check. When he moves, I can come here. Doesn't necessarily achieve anything for me to play that way. He actually can't, or can he take? If he takes, I take here. He gets a queen with check, is the problem. So I'll take once. May have been mistaken to do so, but I will. Then I'll take here. And now I think I probably have to come here, attack this guy, and also indirectly defend my a6 pawn, which he's going to go after next. And he's going to try and create pass pawns himself. So I can do this and just push him back. It's probably what I'll do. Push him back. Can I then play a move like this? Probably not, because he can take. But as long as I can sort of hold on here, then we may well be okay. Might well play this move now. Let's just get the king a bit more active now, actually. This pawn's well defended, but the question is, can he make a pass pawn? If he does, I want my king to be there, very much playing. If I let him in here, that may not be a great thing. So maybe I actually want to play this here, just to take this square away from him. Make it harder for him to use his king. And if he comes here, I can come here. Yes, he can give a check there. But I move. He can give another check. Or I can say move here. Unclear what I should do with my king. So maybe if this, maybe I just give this check. So he actually comes there. But now I can move this pawn onto a dark square where it's immune from capture from his bishop. He can't take because I take the rook. And if he pushes forward, well, fine. Fine. But what about now if I push this pawn again? Not sure I'd want to do that. Let's just move our king into the game a little bit more. I mean, maybe this was the best idea, and maybe I still should. If he comes here, then I can push this pawn. Definitely unclear to me, but I don't want this pawn to become super vulnerable, and I think that as long as I'm here, I should be okay. At least for the time being. Maybe I'll move this bishop back now. Move that bishop back. Maybe next I can come here with my king. He's going to want to come here though with his rook. That much is clear. So I'll actually just come here and say you can't have it. If he comes here and insists upon it, then I'll bring my rook over here perhaps. And I'm trying my best to hold on here, but I've probably got a losing position. This has probably been a slow torture. If you're still watching, please Leave a comment. Leave a comment. All right, so he wants to come here next. He's winning here. He's winning, no doubt about it. Now his rook comes in. But then I push my pawn. He takes this, I push again. That actually works for me. Hilariously enough. It probably doesn't work for me, but you never know with these things, hey? We have to come back here, no choice. Now it definitely doesn't work because after this, he retreats here, guarding the square. So therefore, if this is played, I might have to come up with something else. This is what I'll come up with. Yes, he can take the pawn. Yes, I'm losing, but I'm going to come here and try and do check. Not much else I can hope for. If check, I have to come here to protect my other rook. I'm getting slaughtered here, and well-deserved slaughtering here. Couple of big blunders. The biggest blunder was giving away my protected pass pawn for absolutely nothing. But even before then, a very sloppy game. Now, the point of this is obviously not to beat up on myself, but to learn. So we're going to go through this, hopefully learn something along the way. My king is completely restricted here. It's just awful. I've got nothing I can do. I might as well resign. Maybe I should have moved my rook onto this file. It's just not nice at all, this position. Not nice at all. Yeah, we can see what's happening here. We can definitely see what's happening here. But what can we do about it? Jack all. Jack all. But you play on. You play on. He's got two passed pawns now. The table has well and truly turned. Even if we go for this trade, well, I have to go for it. I have to activate this rook. My king's doing nothing otherwise. So if he takes, I'll take back. My bishop at least will defend this, but in so doing, I'll give up on this pawn. But with a very active king on the other side, now I have to come here. Completely forced. If he just continues to push here, well, he's getting closer and closer to his queen, isn't he? He's getting closer and closer to his queen. What if I play this? Try and bring my king over to attack this rook, and when it moves, take that pawn off the board. I mean, you never know. This bishop is pinned for now. Like, while you never know, you kind of do know. Even if he just brings his king here and then here, that's really annoying. Once he wins this pawn, it's all over. But if he brings his king here, there is check. And then when he moves, I come here. He's going to have to play something like, this. So I wouldn't want to allow that. I might take that in that case. Now here, it sort of looks like I can play this, but then he's going to move his bishop away with a check and guard that square. So that's his idea. It's not a bad idea. But, what can I do then? Maybe therefore I come here. Or maybe, not much I can do. 10 seconds left to play with. I'll come here. I'll just come here. I mean, Yes, there's not a lot I can do. I get that. Why didn't I come here? Well, don't know. Maybe I should have. But here we are now. My thought is if he moves this bishop, I can at least give a check here. Okay, so he wants to move this away, at which point he's threatening to get his queen. So that's not very nice, especially because he wants to move it away with check. Oh, did I just run out of time? Oh, I lost on time. Not. I lost. Absolutely shocking game. Absolutely shocking game. Not a good feeling. Not a good feeling at all. 6 mistakes and a big blunder. Let's just go through this one and have a little look at what went so badly wrong. This is fine. This might be unconventional. I'd like to get onto an analysis board. I'm not sure where that is. Well, this apparently is the analysis board. So all these moves were okay. Things were going fine, I think, until, yes, this move here I didn't love. Computer evaluation bar hasn't changed at all. Don't know if that's just a glitch or something, but anyway. After that move, he gave the check. I brought the other knight back. Computer says I'm still doing fine. Still doing okay. After castles, he played this move. Now I've got a slight advantage. Is it because of queen takes c3? No, it's not. Queen takes c3 was the move that gave him a big advantage. I did play queen c3 pretty quickly, having thought that I'd calculated it on a previous move. You know, queen takes c3, queen takes c3, he takes knight, I take rook. That's what I had considered. And indeed, if we had gone down this line, even still, white is better. I'm not sure why. Maybe a move like this, he's attacking my... Yeah, no, this position completely baffles me. Completely baffles me. I must be honest. Can I take the rook? No. Can I just retreat? No. So what is the move here? What's the move here that means life is so good for me? Why can't I find the variations on this analysis board? Normally it tells you some moves. Are you telling me you have to be a member of chess.com? We might have to move over to Lichess from now on, because that's very frustrating. Just show me the moves. Anyway, other than that move, if we just look at what happened in the game. Hang on. His move here was a mistake. When I played my knight back, yeah, things were going okay again. He attacked my queen, and it was very awkward, but I saved the... Saving my queen was a mistake. What should I have done? Taken the rook? Obviously not. Should I have taken the bishop? No. Is there another safe square for this queen? None of these are safe. This ain't 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 safe. So as far as I could tell, this ain't safe either. As far as I could tell, this is the only safe square for the queen. But you're telling me moving to that safe square changes the evaluation by a lot and not in my favor? So what was it? Should I have taken here? Maybe it was not moving the queen at all. Maybe I should have attacked his queen. Maybe I should have attacked his queen. He takes my queen, I take his with a tempo on the rook. And when the rook has to move, it has to move to defend this pawn. And what? Then I can just come back. And I'm doing better. In any rate, if we just... a couple other moments I want to see here. Because I still thought here I was solid and should be a draw. I mean, actually I have a big advantage here, as awkward as this felt. I have a big advantage here. This move in particular, this is just interesting to me that in this position, I'm looking around, I'm saying, I don't like my position at all. Everything is uncoordinated. I'm unhappy, unhappy, unhappy. Computer says I have a huge advantage. And I played a6. Computer says that was correct. Taking that knight, maybe not the best move, but not the worst. And as the game played on, things were still fine. I think things remained fine until I gave away that extra protected pass pawn. So even here, things are all good. This is all fine. And like I said, I felt better. And I was better. Not much better at this point. I've given away most of my advantage. But even here, I'm slightly better. But here I thought, now I'm considerably better after e5. And funnily enough, the computer says, nah, it's just a dead draw here. It's just a dead draw. After this move, obviously if I wanted to play this, I should have prepared it with a move like this, or a move, yeah, probably a move like that. But I didn't do that. Instead, I just gave away the pawn for free. Just have a look. That'll be the last moment I have a look at, and then we'll end this video. This analysis board is extremely annoying at the moment. So yes, here I just gave this pawn away. And thought it still could be about a drawn position. At what point did it stop being a draw? Or, you know, roughly a draw. Yeah, it's still all pretty straightforward here. Still all pretty straightforward. Still all straightforward. Still all pretty straightforward. Here, all this time I was thinking about how, you know, I'm basically ruined, trying to hold on. So that move wasn't a great one. Should I have gone for this idea? No, it's not much better. What is the right idea here? Should I have given a check? Perhaps I should have given a check. In any case, now that his king is active, he's definitely becoming a lot more secure in his position. And that was the decisive mistake, actually retreating my rook. In fact, moving my king back too far was the decisive mistake. Probably I should move my rook back immediately. Anyway, a shocker of a game. Lesson learned. I'm going to have to reflect on this one and come back next time. We'll see you then.